Imagine this, receiving a threatening email from your own daughter with the message, "You will pay." For one mother in Aurora, Colorado, this nightmare became reality. Yunmi Hoy, a 47-year-old woman, was the mother of Isabelle Guzman. On August 28, 2013, Yunmi was brutally murdered by her own daughter. But what pushed Isabella to commit such a horrifying crime? Let's start by understanding the background. Isabelle Guzman and her mother had a difficult relationship, and it had been deteriorating for years. The strain between them intensified after Yunmi divorced Isabella's father and remarried another man. Although Yunmi and Isabella's father remained on good terms, Isabella harbored growing resentment toward her mother. According to those close to the family, Isabella was often rebellious. Her stepfather, Ryan Hoy, described her as increasingly hostile and disrespectful toward Yunmi. The tension wasn't just emotional. The family was facing financial difficulties, which added more pressure to an already strained household. This is something we often see in crime cases, financial stress acting as a catalyst for deeper emotional conflicts. The arguments between Isabella and her mother intensified, and in the days leading up to the murder, the household was on edge. Just one day before the murder, on August 27, 2013, Yunmi received a chilling email from Isabella. It said, "You will pay." Fearing for her life, Yunmi contacted the police. But unfortunately, the police, like many others, dismissed Isabella's behavior as typical teenage rebellion. No immediate action was taken to protect Yunmi, and this would prove to be a fatal mistake. The next day, August 28, 2013, seemed like any other, but it would soon turn into a day of unthinkable horror. Isabella's stepfather, Ryan Hoy, was in his bedroom, dozing off after work, while Yunmi was in the bathroom getting ready for the evening. At this point, tensions in the house had reached their breaking point. Suddenly, without warning, Isabella entered the bathroom, locking the door behind her. In her hand, she held a kitchen knife. What happened next was nothing short of brutal. Isabella attacked her mother, stabbing her 79 times in the face and neck. Ryan, hearing the commotion from the other side of the door, rushed to help. He frantically tried to break into the bathroom, but by the time he managed to force his way in, it was too late. His wife, Yunmi, lay on the floor, unresponsive. Blood covered the bathroom floor, and Isabella stood there, emotionless, as if detached from the horror she had just inflicted. This moment, the stark contrast between the violent act and Isabella's cold demeanor, is one that haunted everyone involved, from Ryan to the police who arrived at the scene shortly after. After the murder, Isabella fled the scene. Police officers arrived quickly, but she had already disappeared.
With breaking news in Aurora this morning, police are now looking for this woman. They're calling her a suspect in a deadly stabbing overnight. A woman was found dead in a home on South Lima Street. This is near Parker in Havana. Eric Lufer is live with the details on the investigation. Eric, what's taking place right now?
Dale, when we first got here just after 10 o'clock last night, we talked with police. They said they were waiting on a search warrant before they could go inside. When I got here at 4 o'clock this morning, I did see a few officers coming in and out, so it looks like the investigation has started. I'm going to step out real quickly for you, show you what's happening here. This is the house in question. This White House here, you can see the yellow tape blocking off, and they've also got the road blocked off as well, and you can see several squad cars still in the road here. Let's give you another look at this suspect, Isabelle Guzman.
The search for Isabella was intense, with authorities scouring the area for any sign of her. And it wasn't long before they got a break in the case. Not far from the crime scene, Isabella was found sleeping in a car, covered in blood. The passerby who discovered her initially believed she was dead and called 911, fearing the worst. But when officers arrived, they found her alive and arrested her without resistance. The fact that Isabella was sleeping so soon after the murder, still covered in her mother's blood, only deepened the public's shock. How could someone commit such an unimaginable act and remain so calm, so detached? This question would soon become central in the trial and in the viral internet drama that would follow. Now, Isabella's behavior in court was unlike anything most people had seen. During her court appearances, she exhibited bizarre and unsettling behaviors. Isabella was seen smiling eerily at the camera, rolling her eyes and making odd facial expressions. she maintained a detached, calm demeanor, completely at odds with the gruesome crime she was being tried for. This behavior sparked a firestorm online. Videos of her unsettling expressions and demeanor quickly went viral, spreading across social media platforms like TikTok and YouTube. Her lack of remorse and seemingly cold-hearted attitude became infamous. TikTok users, in particular, latched onto her strange behavior, creating a meme culture around her court appearances. By 2020, years after the case had largely faded from the headlines, TikTok brought Isabelle back into the spotlight. Clips of her courtroom behavior were remixed with dramatic music, and many users started romanticizing or even idolizing her detached expressions. Some users claimed that she was misunderstood or a victim of her mental illness, while others sensationalized her cold demeanor, treating her as a dark celebrity. But this trend raised important ethical questions. Was it appropriate to turn someone who had committed such a brutal act into a viral figure? Was this glorifying violence or downplaying the seriousness of the crime? These discussions ignited debates about mental health, criminal behavior, and the role of the internet in shaping public perceptions of real-life tragedies. The case of Isabelle Guzman isn't the only one to face this kind of treatment. In recent years, true crime has become a booming genre, and with it, there's been an increasing tendency to sensationalize the lives of criminals. Figures like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer have been similarly romanticized by segments of internet culture, despite the horrific nature of their crimes. But this raises the question, where do we draw the line between entertainment and exploitation? As Isabella's trial continued, a clearer picture of her mental state began to emerge. After a series of psychiatric evaluations, Isabella was diagnosed with schizophrenia, a serious mental disorder that affects how a person thinks, feels, and behaves. People with schizophrenia often experience delusions, false beliefs that aren't based in reality, and hallucinations. In Isabella's case, it was revealed that she had been suffering from paranoid delusions at the time of the murder, which led her to believe that her mother was a threat to her. Schizophrenia is a complex mental illness that affects around 1% of the population, and its symptoms can vary greatly. Some people with schizophrenia may hear voices that aren't there, while others may believe they are being persecuted or controlled by external forces. In Isabella's case, these delusions took the form of believing her mother posed a danger, driving her to commit the unthinkable. In September 2014, the court ruled that Isabella was not guilty by reason of insanity. Rather than being sentenced to prison, she was committed to the Colorado Mental Health Institute at Pueblo indefinitely. There, she would receive treatment for her schizophrenia, and her potential release would depend on evaluations of her mental state in the future. But this case leaves us with difficult, lingering questions. Was justice truly served? Could Isabella have been helped before the tragedy occurred, or did the system fail both her and her mother by not taking the warning signs seriously? And what about her mental illness? Did it fully excuse her actions, or should the punishment have been more severe? Mental illness is a complex topic, and it's important to remember that not all individuals with schizophrenia are violent. In fact, people with mental illnesses are often more likely to be victims of violence rather than perpetrators. But in this case, Isabella's schizophrenia and delusions led to a catastrophic outcome.
I was not myself when I did that, and I have since been restored to full health. I was abused at home by my family for many years. My parents are Jehovah's Witnesses, and I left the religion when I was 14, and the abuse at home worsened after I quit. The fight with my mom was terrible, and I was injured in the process. I have the scars on my hands. I don't know if you can see or not. I'm not mentally ill anymore. I'm not a danger to myself or others. If I could change it, or if I could take it back, I would.
Well, if you're as fascinated by these questions as I am, then you're in the right place. Hit subscribe and like this video because in the future, I'll be bringing you more real-life crime stories like this one. Dark, disturbing, and thought-provoking. Stay with me on this journey, and together we'll explore the mysteries of the human mind and the most shocking cases from around the world. This is Ubaid, your introverted investigator, signing off for today. But trust me, you won't want to miss the next case. And yes, leave a comment with your feedback, since this is my first video on this channel. Also, if you want to see this video dubbed in Hindi, comment below, because why not?